Welcome back to the PvP Live Studios here in Frisco, Texas. We just saw Zalae with a 1-0 lead here over Powder. His control warrior deck, a little bit too much for Powder's Rogue Menace.
Yeah, able to pretty much control him at every single step of the way. Again, Warrior has those super efficient answers to the early minions, and then Powder had a couple turns in there where he had no action in his turns whatsoever, and that was a major difference in that game. But guys, game 2 is getting underway right now. Powder versus Zalae.
Yeah, let's see if we get any changes here on the Powder side. Zalae queued up great here in game 1. It looks like he's actually going to switch to the Rogue deck, and Powder's moving into that Demon deck that we keep seeing here out of the Warlocks.
Yeah, I think this is honestly, if I had to venture to put a matchup on this, I would say it's pretty heavily in favor of the Rogue. The Rogue can check so many different things that are going on here, and then this Warlock deck doesn't have a ton of ways to defend against a lot of the ways that this deck's going to apply burst damage. So, but the thing that Powder really has going for him right now is that Zalae doesn't know what kind of Warlock deck this is just yet.
Yeah, there's, so many different decks within the Warlock class, and some of them are really aggressive, and some of them really sit on their hero power for the first couple turns. So mulliganing against them is actually pretty difficult, and that is a Goblin Auto Barber in Zalae's
that
hand.
card has been an absolute all-star versus some of the decks that we've seen. And versus this deck, I don't think it's any exception. The fact that you can have a dagger on board and then use the Goblin Auto Barber to take out something like a Knife Juggler, great stuff from him. But Powder recognizes he needs to get on the board very early on and start pushing. So turn 1 Knife Juggler, going to be a little bit of pressure for him and Zalae. Not a ton of action moving forward. If he wants to handle this Knife Juggler right now, he would have to expend and Eviscerate, or he'd have to invest some of his life into doing it by not checking it this turn, taking 3 damage, and then taking more damage to attack it later on.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things here too. If he does do something like Dagger and Pass, and Powder has something like, Void Walker, you're in big trouble here because you won't be able to get to the Knife Juggler here. So you actually might see Zalae Eviscerate here if he really thinks he needs to be defensive early. And his hand is not, great at dealing with a ton of stuff here early.
Yeah, sort of an interesting spot for him moving forward in this game. I don't mind the Eviscerate at all.
Yeah, I fully expected
a lot
this,
of damage,
I fully expected
Backstab would be great so we can get the dagger up, but I don't think he's sad using an Eviscerate in this spot. And Flame It picked up now for Powder. And so a little bit playing off curve here, maybe going to go with this Nerubian Egg instead. He wants Abusive Sergeant to be potentially a factor here. Also start building board resilience against something like Blade Flurry. And then moving forward, he's got Imp King Boss, and he's already seen an Eviscerate from Zalae, so the Imp King Boss likely to go unchecked.
Yeah, and this is a good turn for Zalae. If he wants to, he can actually just get a 3-2 body on board, but yeah, I was about to say, it's really hard to pass up a Dagger turn where your opponent hasn't actually applied a ton of pressure yet.
The other thing, too, is if he just plays the 3-2, now he's played directly into Abusive Sergeant, and I think it's something else he's trying to avoid this match. So, I mean, Powder's hand continues to, develop really nicely here. He got a lot of resilient threats moving forward in this. He's already got his board kind of stabilized in a great position here. Zalae's going to need some real strong action if he wants to get back into this game. But, his hand's pretty constructed well to do this. Azure Drake and Backstab are very good. 2 Goblin Auto Barbers make that, that's effectively a poison he's going to get from playing both of these. And he gets 3-2 bodies out of it.
Yeah, he gets 2 3-2 bodies out of it and a 3-power dagger. He does have a Blade Fury behind the shadow, so you're going to see him not attack here, because next turn he can start doing a lot of damage with his Backstab Blade Flurry combo and take care of a lot of the stuff that's going to be left behind by this Imp King Boss.
Yeah, so great draws here from Powder so far. The 66.66% repeating, of course, for that Doom Guard to come into play off of this Void Caller. And I mean, this looks like it might end up being a little bit too much pressure for Zalae in the next couple turns here.
Yeah, he needs this Backstab, and he needs to draw something like SI Agent or something very soon. He needs to be able to affect this board very quickly here. Zalae's going to start getting really out of control soon.
Yeah, Preparation wouldn't be a bad draw, I don't think. It looks to me like this is an Azure Drake turn.
Yeah, you might see Azure Drake this turn. I mean, Zalae's just under so much pressure here over the next couple turns. Powder's got to just be licking his chops at this board with this Doom Guard, these 2 Doom Guards behind him, and an Abusive Sergeant.
Yeah, I mean, Zalae still is at 30, though, and he's got a lot of stuff in his hand that can lead to board clears on future turns. So, he is under pressure in terms of a lot of board tension is building, but he hasn't really taken any damage yet. So, how he moves forward in this game, it feels a little bit like it's on his terms. The thing that Powder has going for him is the fact that he's got a lot of resilient threats on his side of the board so far. And the Imp Gang Boss isn't something that Zalae can effectively deal with. The Nerubian Egg is sitting on board. The Void Caller can potentially spit out some massive minions. I actually like that he's choosing to go for face here and just get the pressure he can.
Power Overwhelming picked up here for Powder as well, so he's got a lot of options to deal a ton of damage here this turn and start clearing out these Azure Drakes. He can make this Nerubian Egg, take out this Azure Drake, and leave behind a 4-4 here if he wants to. And then he can even trade his Imp Gang Boss into this Goblin Auto Barber, leaving behind a 1-1 and leaving no minions on Zalae's side.
Yeah, I mean, again, one of the big problems with this, though, is he is risking positions where
Blade Flurry,
yeah, where Zalae is going to get potential big Blade Flurries. I actually love that he's keeping the Ruby Egg fresh in preparation for something like a Blade Flurry.
This is what I was going to say. This is the play he's going to make, though. He's going to start charging his minions in, get this Doom Guard into play, take care of this Azure Drake. I have to believe he's going to take care of this Azure Drake.
Yeah, there's no reason not to use the 1/1 to do so. And again, wants to keep the Nerubian Egg on board as the Nerubian Egg as a backup plan against something like board sweeps. Even considering using Abusive Sergeants here, I wouldn't blame him too either. With the Nerubian Eggs down, this is the time to start pushing.
Yeah, he needs to get in a bunch of damage here while it seems like Zalae's hand is not coming together. It feels like Zalae's been searching for something over the last couple turns. Sap, not a bad one in the spot.
Sap is very good, in my opinion, in this spot right now. So a couple different ways that he can handle this board, but he is going to have to take some damage in the process, and it will yield initiative back over to Powder. But he's going to know that Doomguard is one of these cards in hand, so he doesn't know that Powder has a second one in his hand. And if when Powder sees this Sap, he's going to be very upset by what's happening. But another potential play too is to instead of taking 4 damage from the Nerubian Egg token that it makes afterwards, is actually taking damage from the Doomguard and then sapping the Nerubian token. It's a 3-mana 4/4, so it's not like Powder's excited to be playing it kind of moving forward.
Yeah, he's got a couple other options too. He could always backstab the Nerubian Egg, then sap the Doomguard, attack the Nerubian Egg, and Blade Flurry, and just have an empty board here to deal with going forward from there.
Many plays.
Yeah, you take some damage that way, but you're going to be taking damage anyway, so you have to leverage your life total in the best way possible here.
I wonder if there's any chance he actually does something like anti-Keelbot and backstab.
Whatever he does, he has to do it soon. He's running out of time here this turn.
Yeah, I actually kind of like this, honestly. Just backstab with the Flame Imp and then kind of force your opponent to attack in a weird way. I mean, you're up to 30 now. You still have a sap in your hand. You have a sprint going next turn. This actually looks like I think this is his best line of play, actually.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty good play from Zalae here. I like this. Just taking it slow, make Powder continue to. Powder's going to continue to develop his board here and push for damage, and the longer you take to clear everything, the more mana you're going to have to turn after that, and you're really going to get going.
2 from Implosion, so going to take out this anti-Keelbot. He's in 5 points of damage. Zalae's still at 23, though. Second sap gets picked up. I have to believe he's sprinting this turn and going to hope that he gets a preparation so he can sap this Doomguard.
Yeah, I actually like that play a lot. Zalae with this 3-power dagger, he's had this since turn 4 and hasn't used it yet. And here we are in turn 7.
Yeah, I think he's got bigger plans in mind. Sprint is exactly what it's going to be.
There's a prep right off the top.
Yeah, there's a deadly poison, a second deadly poison, and a Tinker Sharp Sword Oil. Oh my gosh, that is 20 points of damage next turn for Zalae if he wants to. All he has to do is live through this turn, and he wins the game.
Yeah, Powder only has 9 damage on board right now. He has a Doomguard and Power Overwhelming in his hand, so that's another 9. That's only 18. He has another 2 from the Abusive Sergeant. That's only 20. So right now, he can't kill Zalae with 3 perfect cards out of his hand.
Wow, this has been a crazy turn. I mean, what fantastic draws off of the sprint that Zalae had right now. And Powder, I think he's done a good job at kind of keeping a balance of pressure, keeping his Nerubian Egg safe. But I think this is just going to be too much damage at the end.
Yeah, this is he can even prep a sap here just to be really careful and still have all the stuff next turn.
He's going to take a little bit of a risk. That is not enough for Powder. Once again, 5, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, 20 damage. He can put Zalae down to 3, but Zalae is actually just going to kill him next turn.
I think Zalae's only attacked like once this entire game, maybe twice. Powder is, life tapped a few times. Oh, the Void Walker might.
No, that's not. The Void Walker still wouldn't be enough because of the sap that's in his hand. He held on to it.
Yeah, he's got prep sap to get through this Void Walker as well.
And he has 8 mana. This is perfectly played from Zalae so far. And Powder, he's going to do everything he can. I don't think he's expecting 18 points of damage
I don't know. He might be expecting something crazy here from Zalae. Zalae has kind of just laid here and taken a beating for the last 3 turns. But he has so many cards in his hand. He sprinted. You have to, look at Powder's face. Look at his body language. I think he knows that something's up.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely knows that there is a possibility of danger. And Void Walker going to try to keep himself protected. You can see he looks nervous. And Zalae, he just has it all, man. Wow, what a sprint from him. And this dagger is going to be so massive. Unbelievable that he was able to get this much damage after the way that this game started out early. Wonderful stuff from him.
The old 20-point attack you Blade Flurry combo.
That is just disgusting.
Unbelievable.
We've seen so many burst combos be such a big talking point here at HPL. And again, this is something that Zalae executes extremely well. He finds himself up 2 games now versus Powder. If Powder's going to win this series, he's going to have to take 3 straight.
Yeah, and you know what? This game, right in line with how all of our games and all of our matches have been going here this week. If you haven't seen them, go back to PvPlive.net. Check out some of those VODs. We have some amazing games this week, very much like this one. Turns where 30 damage is coming out of nowhere, huge combos out of tons of players, 20 points from one dagger here in this game. I haven't seen that one in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, that is pretty crazy stuff. Again, you can head over to PvPlive.net and check it out for yourself. Full stats, breakdowns, recaps, everything you need to know about it is available on the website. So Zalae now finds himself at a 2-0 lead in our 3rd match. He looks fantastic in this matchup so far. Powder, he's got to get something going. He needs 3 straight games if he's going to win this match. Don't go anywhere, guys. When we come back, Game 3 is going to be getting underway. You're watching Hearthstone on PvP Live.